Oh, this is easy, and I got this little script for ZBrush-2021-EZModeler. It's kind of like a helper, and I'm going to walk you through it. So the link will be below the video when you download the zip file. So basically, once you extract it to wherever you want, you're going to need to load that file. Okay, so it's on my desktop, and it's going to be in this folder right here. Double click it. Now these two are the same. This one here is the source code, and basically this is the ZSC file. Either one will work. In case you want to alter it or whatever, you're more than welcome to. So we'll load it like this. Then we'll drag this window up. I'm going to drag a little large so you can see. Then you should see these buttons, and they should look just like this in the video as you're getting them. If you had changed your custom UI, they might not align correctly. And to fix that, you can go to Preference, Config, and you need to restore the standard UI back to the default. If that's not working, I'm assuming this is the one. You can always use the load UI, and I supplied one for you right here. Another thing is, when you drag way down, if I even update it, I will change the version and the date, so you can keep an eye on that, and more than likely you'll just overwrite the newer one with the older one or whatever. So when we get something like this, okay, the first thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and grab the Polymesh 3D Star, and we need to be in edit mode. And also, if this is needs to be facing towards you, it's not necessary, but it's good to have it like that, and hold the shift key to snap it. Then the next step is very important. Okay, it's this one here. Normally you'll just press this once and you'll be done with this button at all. So basically I'm going to show you what this does and its purpose. Okay, when I press here, you can keep an eye on three things. It's going to load the brushes, and you'll see them swapping up through here. Okay, then it's going to turn the draw size to 200. Okay, this is kind of designed for equal spacing, and for this to work, the draw size has to be at 200. And also it will load the default cube and to get started with it. So we'll go ahead and get started here. And you can see it's on extrude 1 poly. If we turn it aside, the symmetry is already on, so we can get it like this. Alright, the draw size is to 200, and that's a necessity because it won't get equal spacing if you don't. There is an alternative for some reason, and I'm going to go over this once, which I don't recommend, because if that draw size is too big for you and you just don't like it, you can actually, most people want it down to 1. When you're in number 2 here, if you hit the space bar, you turn off stepping and set the step size to 0.4. Then you come down here and you repeat the same thing. Turn the step by brush off and turn the slider to 0.4, or you can type it in. The problem with that is you got to do it every time you set ZBrush. There's no way of storing this information. There is no way of writing a script to make this to 0.4. So I'm pretty happy with what I got here, so I'm not worried about it. So we'll just don't mess with the draw size here. And also we have this the cube loader. If for some reason you don't like that cube, alright, the old method was to come down here, initialize, and you can adjust these. We're not going to touch that, and it will mess up if you do touch that. So basically I have some ones that you can try if you want. Okay, this is the one, the cube loader is actually the one that's on the screen right now. The backup is actually the same thing. So let's say you want more geometry. Let's go to cube 1. Okay, we got more geometry, and we'll also have equal spacing. If I don't like that, we can load the cube here and go to cube 2. It's a little larger, and we also have equal spacing. If for some reason I like this, what I would do is I'd press save, and I'd overwrite the cube loader. Alright, and that way anytime that I load that cube, I can load it through here, which I didn't save it, so it's going back to the original one. So, and the next step is, as you can see, we have a bunch of numbers and all kinds of stuff here. I'm going to explain that. And before I go on any further, the reason why I made this is because these brushes that come with the ZBrush, they have a lot of information that you can change in them, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. So if I hover over here and hit the space bar, there's a lot of stuff you really don't need to pay attention because it just looks like it's just too much. Alright, so the way it used to be, and I've seen it in videos, and this is the one reason why I made it, is because not only that ZBrush offers a lot for speeding up the workflow, which makes it, I mean, like 10 times as fast as any normal program I've ever seen. But the problem is now when you see somebody using it, what's the first thing they do? Well, they want to hit the B key. Alright, then they want to hit the Z key. Then there's a ZModeler. Now they want to hit the M key. Alright, now it brings up the ZModeler. Well, maybe they don't want a Qmesh on there the first time, so they'll hit the space bar. Then they're clicking, then they're done and click 4 or 5 times before they even got started. Okay, that's one thing that defeats the purpose of speeding up your workflow. You're spending more time clicking buttons before you even get started. I've also watched videos where people are making tutorials or just making, anything, any object. And all you see, I watched a 23-minute video. This guy would select something, hit the space bar. This guy, he would do a couple of things, hit the space bar. He was hitting the space bar on approximately at every 10 seconds for a 23-minute video. This thing popping up in my face, I do not like that. This type of menu here that they got going here might have been cool back in the old days, but not with me, not when it's in my face. Okay, now that's what these buttons here are here for. So we're going to go into the next step. Okay, before I go on any further, I'm doing this video in sections. It makes it easier for me to teach this way, and sometimes when I pause the video I try to leave everything alone and not to move anything, because when the video starts back up and I change something, you're probably going to see it in the video. As an example, if I was to have this played in my first video, then I moved the cube or did something right here, well, it's going to flick over and you're going to say, well, what just happened? Well, it's probably because I paused the video. So I try not to do that. So we're going to get started in the next section, and that was just heads up on that. Now we're going to go over these buttons down here. We already went through the first one, which is a must to have done, and it always started off with the equal spacing when it was done, when it was loaded. So anytime that I select a button, okay, this is going to update up here and let you know. So, and ahead of time I'm going to press it and keep an eye on the ZModeler brush, and it's going to say here, then it's going to give you an idea. It's going to extrude 1 poly. Alright, then down here it says equal spacing. That gives you an indication what's going to happen. Okay, very simple. Alright, now we got a lot of buttons and they're really simple. Basically we have a top row that starts out at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you notice, we got some ones below 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So basically the top one and the lower one are associated with each other. That means they work very well with each other. That's why they're like in a combo set. So the upper one and the lower one has a lot in common. And once you get the hang of it, it's really simple what they do. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the crease. It says add edge and slide. Haven't selected yet, so when we click here, it says add edge and slide. So it's going to let me click an edge. Alright, now I'm also able to slide that edge, which is pretty handy. For some reason I come over here, add another edge and slide it. Well, that's nice. Now I need to move the edge. Well, I don't, not with this button I can't. So that's why this button down here is associated with it. Move an edge and slide. So we'll select here. So basically if I want to move that edge now, I can hover over it and slide it where I want. They have a lot in common. And Control Z that. Bam, 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 bam. Now we have the equal spacing. Okay, so we'll select here. Now this top row with some of these polygons, all that means is they're basically the same. One's for a single polygon, and the other one that says all are associated with all the polygons on the one you're selecting. So basically if I select here, okay, it's a single one. Alright, I'm going to select out like that. Just to show you, I'm going to hit the space bar, and it's going to say target a single poly. If I select down here, number 2 all, basically the same thing, poly group all. So basically what this does, when I pull out, it pulls a single one. If I press down here, these are the darker ends that are green, it affects them all. Same way with the Qmesh. If we select here, drag up, we get this. Control Z. Now we do 3 all. Okay, it's going to Qmesh all the polygons associated with that. Same way with insert. We'll do that. I'm doing 1. Let's see what's fun about, or what's good about this. If I'm in single, sure I can come over and click this, but if I want to speed up the workflow, all I need to do is come down here and press insert all to that same poly group, which makes it extremely fast, especially when you got more than one of these. You may have 6 of these at once. That way you don't got to sit there and click here and click here to keep on adding the inserts here. Control Z that. Now what this does is poly group 1 poly. Basically if I select here, it's going to change it. It's going to change it. Control Z. The poly group loop. It all depends which ways my line is facing. So if I want it, I don't know if you can see in the video, I'll try if I can turn it. There's a little yellow one there, and it's facing kind of down, and it's going to loop in a ring around there. Okay, that way. If I point it out to this, either to the right side or the left side, it's going to go in that direction. I'm hoping you can see in the video. I'll see if I can do it over here. It looks a little bit better. I have it pointing out to the right. It's going to loop around. Control Z that. Basically it's doing the same thing if I do it this way. Now if I want to ring it around, I can go like this, and it goes all the way around. Alright, now we're going to go over the bridge. So for me to do that, I'm going to go into the move here. I'm going to hold the control key down, and I'm going to make a copy. One of them's already masked, okay? When I press this bridge, it says delete face, and we're going to go ahead and it's going to bridge the edges, okay? So we're going to find out what that means. We do not need to clear the mask on this. So when we do hit the bridge here, it's going to clear the mask. It's going to ask you to select this first one here to delete the face. Delete the face. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select an edge now, and select an edge here, and we get something like this. So we Control Z this back. I want to do a little something different here, so I want to offset this a little bit. Sorry to get confusing, so you can see this, the effect a little bit better. So we're going to press a bridge here. All right, this will make it a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to select here and here. We got two open holes. Now we're going to bring our cursor up here, click the edge, and come down here and click. Now we're going to be able to move our cursor. We can arch this, add segments in the middle, and we can even make it go straight if we want, like that. I'm holding the shift key down and straight, or I can get an arch to it. Alright, this is the only way that I know that you can do an arch. Now if we press this bridge to faces, we don't get the arch, we don't get the option to arch. So basically when you press this, you're going to get this, and you're going to get this. Okay? We can add our own edges later, and I'll show you how to do that. Alright, we have the dynamic slider. Okay, what this does, when I set a value, it's going to mimic it as it's being subdivided. If I move it to 1, as if I was just to go into geometry and divide it with smooth on, this is what it would look like at number 1. It kind of give you a sort of a fake preview. So that's how that works. Turn it back off, you can go to 0. Alright, now for the fun part. Okay, this is what I like, and I'm going to show you the right way and the wrong way to do this. Okay, we're going to set a hotkey up for this. And once we set a hotkey up for this, there has to be a value in here from 1 to whatever it goes, I think 5, for it to activate. If it's set at 0, your hotkey is not going to work. I'll show you here in just a second. So we're going to open up geometry, dynamic geometry. If I put my mouse down here, it says active dynamic subdivision. Okay, we're going to assign a hotkey. This is where I want to show you the right way and wrong way, because this will throw you off if you don't do it right. So basically, to do this, which is the old way, Control Alt, and we're going to click it. If you look up in the left hand corner, it says press any key to assign a hotkey for this. Okay, I got the Control Alt down as I click like it told me to do. One of my hotkeys is going to be the scroll mouse wheel up. And it said hotkey noted, custom hotkey assigned successfully. So when I put my mouse over here, you can see the hotkey Alt plus Control plus mouse wheel. Huh, that's too much. That's too much for me to do, because I just want to use the mouse wheel. To fix that, we'll click over here again, Control Alt. Now when I tell you to look up in the left hand corner, I mean up here, we're going to click here and hold the Alt key or the Control key at the same time and click it, and it's going to ask me to assign for a hotkey. At this time, we're going to let go both Control key and the Alt key, and all I'm going to do is move my scroll mouse wheel up. There you go, hotkey assigned. Let's hover over and see what we got here. There we go. The only hotkey is mouse wheel up. You can mouse wheel down or mouse wheel up. And if I mouse wheel up, you can see it comes on. Mouse wheel up again, turns it off. Like I said, it must have some type of value in here for this to work. So if we got it to 2, and I'm going to move my mouse wheel up, it just basically shuts it on and off. So if I move my mouse wheel up again, turns it on and back off. So if I set it up to 4, move my mouse wheel up, then move it back down. So that's how that works. And sometimes when you may find when you reset it, some brushes It may throw, which is this one here, it may throw this back to 0, and you're wondering like, hey, it's not doing nothing, okay, because the dynamic is set to 0. And like I said, this reset brush will, I believe, set it back to 0. And basically what this does, if you go ahead and you start messing with some of these brushes I got up here, and you did something, you didn't know what you did, and you want it back to the default, instead of going here and starting over, you're going to lose your work. You don't want to lose your work, so you're going to reset your brush through here. That's whatever you're working on is what you're going to keep. Well, let me see if that works. We'll just put it on 2 and reset the brush. Let's see if it happens. See, it set it back to 0. So for my hotkey to work again, I need to, you know, never hardly ever need to, you know, reset your brushes. And like I said, if you start messing with it, these are really not, the ones on here are really not for you to alter and save. There's problems if you try saving these, and I'm not going to get into it because it's going to make the video long. So basically what I'm saying is don't touch them. Alright, we're going to go into the next step. We have the Custom 1 and Custom 2. As you can see, I have not clicked anything yet, so I can press Custom 1 and Custom 2. These also are toggled by the toggle button here. Click it once to 1, click it again. It's also, if you hover over it, it's also got a hotkey to it. So if I press the 1 on the keyboard, keep an eye on it over here. 1, press the 1 on the keyboard again. Number 2. It's got all kinds of you know, ways that you can make a hotkey for something. I like very few hotkeys. So I don't have to get too much into remembering a lot of stuff. So I keep that limited. But this is for Custom 1 and Custom 2. Now, as I said before, these brushes over here, these are made not to be tampered with. Well, if you say, hey, I want a custom brush. So basically what you do, and in order, okay, if we press here, it says Custom 1, make sure you're in Custom 1 and you see that text there. Go ahead and do any settings that you want to the edges, to the points, to the polygons. Alright, right next to it, it's going to let you save it. Alright, you'll be prompted to save. The mistake not to do is click here and turn around and down here and save in C2, because these brushes will not load according to the name. So let's say I did Custom 1, I saved all the settings. Okay, now as long as these settings are, you changed them, you won't have to reset the brush right then. Next time you start the program, they'll be loaded for you. So now if we want to go to Custom 2, these have some presettings to them. You may like them, you may not. And as I said before, once you change any settings in here, then you save it through here according to the thing. That way when you load them, you'll know. You'll press Custom 1 and it'll save and with the word Custom 1. When you click Custom 2 and alter it, it'll give you the name. Thing not to do is come over here and select one of these buttons, and it says add edge and slice, and you come over here and press this, save to that one. Well, that text is always going to pop up, so never touch none of these. Always alter the Custom 1 to your likings with a space bar, edges, points, whatever, polygons, and save next to it. And same for 2. That way when you click the buttons, you'll know Custom 1. Out of 2 custom brushes, I'm pretty sure you'll remember what. There's a way to change its name, but we're just going to leave it very simple for you right here. So that's how that works. Alright, now we got I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. As I said before here, when you press here, it resets your brush, and it also brings out a new cube. Okay, you will lose your work. Typically, you use this one time and don't use it again. Alright, and for this one here, it says reset brush. It basically works just like the first one, but you still keep your work. It doesn't replace it with the cube. And if you have any custom cubes, as I said before, if you save any kind of custom cubes to the cube loader, you can also load it by just pressing load cube, and the object you was working on will be replaced with your cube loader. Okay, we're going to go back and do a couple things and show you some stuff that you can do with these buttons. As I have, I'm going to click one crease here. It says add edge and slice, but the word says crease. Typically, you'd probably say, well, if you're adding an edge, why are you calling it crease? Well, I'm going to show you that. There's also an option in here, I'm not going to show you where, but it's also an option called crease. It leaves dotted lines around the polygons to crease it. Okay, these are not true edges, and they're only for ZBrush, and you cannot export them. With edges you can. So basically, if I press here, which I already did, I'm going to add it, and I'm going to slide it. I typically don't use an edge tool unless I'm probably creasing. See, the closer I get, the tighter it's going to get. So I'm going to move it down about right here, and you can see it's starting to flatten out at the bottom. Let's go ahead and move that down, and then I'll show you. The closer you get it, the tighter it's going to get. Okay, and you can do it multiple times. So if I was just to select here, I can crease it up like that, drag it up. You can't even see the second one, and then it really starting to crease it. Of course, it's going to have a little bevel because I haven't did this one in here yet. So we'll go up once, click and drag up again, and down. And it's starting to give it a nice edge, real hard edge. And you can also do it while the subdivision's on. So if I was to add one, let's say right here, you want to keep the subdivision not really high, but and you can drag it up. See how it's starting to get tighter? And I can add another one if I want. Then that's how that works. So if we turn this off, we can get something like that. You can, there's all kinds of ways that you can do things in here. I'm just going to show you off the wall here. And you do want to use this in low subdivision too. So I'm going to hold the Control Shift key here, and I believe it's this one here. The slice curve will also add an edge. So if I bring it across here, the closer I get, I'm going to hold the space bar and drag it down, and it's going to put an edge right there. I'm just going to tighten it up. Alright, now these buttons are specifically for what they say. Even though that they are specifically for what they say, they can also do other things. So basically, what I'm saying is, if I hover over a face, and I remember this, I have move on in a single poly. If I remember that, and for some reason that I need to use move, I'll know that's under crease. So if I hover over again, and I'll show you again, okay, the polygon is move, the target is single. Remember, this was a top button, so if I select down here, can anybody guess what's going to happen? Space bar, move, and the same thing, but we're over here to all, so everything that's associated with it for move. Basically like how I got all these buttons up here. All for single, the second row for all. This little demonstration, I'm going to kind of show you how you can work with one set of buttons to maybe something different. and give you kind of an idea of, you know, interchanging with different buttons and different settings. I'm in equal spacing here, and if I mouse wheel up, kind of indicates a bicycle frame, not quite yet. I'm in cemetery mode, and I'm going to drag out, and when I do, I'm still in equal spacing. So if I go back here, now I'm going to hold the control key down, and it's going to break it apart. That done, I'm going to select here again and pull out, and then I'm going to have them apart like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mask. I'm going to move. Now this one's highlighted with the center points over here. There's options where you can click that'll bring that up like that. Alright, now it was an equal spacing. Now I'm going to come over here to 6 bridge. It says delete face and bridge. Remember, this is the one that clears the mask. I do not need to clear the mask. Okay, it's asking me to delete and bridge. Same thing as up here. Okay, this one brings out an arch. So it all depends where you connect. So if I want to select here, here, then we get something like this. Control Z that, Control Z that. I'm going to go ahead and Control Z this, but I'm going to leave these open here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this face. Remember, I connected to the top. Let's connect down here and see what happens. So it depends where the holes are at and how you're going to connect them. And you can also, like I said, you can also click here, and sometimes you can just make a straight one right there. Let's backtrack that again. So all the faces are closed, and this one's the bridge. This is basically this one here. It also bridges an arch. This one doesn't bridge an arch, it just bridges. The difference is this top one, it's a two process. You got to delete the face, then you got to bridge. This one here, it's a one-step deal. You click it and you bridge two faces together, which is real handy. Alright, I'd pause the video, so back to the bridge thing real quick. As I said, the top one here, delete face and bridge, it's a two-step process. So you got to delete the face, then you got to connect the edges, then it bridges them. What's good about this one is you can do a straight bridge, or you can have one with an arch. Now this one below here, you're not doing the edges, but you're just doing the faces on the 6-aught. The only thing is you're only bridging two faces. You don't get no arch with that one. After a while, things can be a little messy. You might end up having more poly groups than you want. You can also start over by pressing group visible, one single poly group here, and then we're going to go ahead and select the single one here, polygroup 1 polygon. If we have cemetery on, we're going to get both sides. So if I select here, we get here. We get here. Now this is going to speed up the workflow, because once I pull all these out, I can do them all at one time, instead of one at a time. So with that said, we got everything that we want to select here, and we're going to do the insert all. So it's going to make it quite simple, is we're going to select down here, and it does it all at one time. As you can see here, I would have had it did it 1, 2, 3, and on the other side would have made 6 times, and I did it in one click. Another thing is we're going to go ahead and there's one of the options that we never touched on. It was the Polyloop, and it says it's under the Qmesh, and it's under you can see it says Qmesh Polyloop. And what this means is, we'll show you here, anything that's in the loop, okay, see the green, it's in the loop. So if we pull it out, since I had cemetery on, you notice it does it on each side, but it's not doing it to the other ones, and that can be kind of handy. But before I do that, I want to just go ahead and punch a hole through this really quick. Let's take a look at this here. Okay, looks good. So we'll go back here, and it's only going to affect the cemetery or the single one, even though that, because sometimes I might want to keep my inner ones kind of, whoops, you got to be right on the button with this one here now, and you got to have your arrow pointing up, the yellow one, because you want to follow the poly loop, okay, not the group. And you see it says loop, then you'll do something like that. Now, I might not want this on the outside, I want this on the inside. Another thing you could do is you hover over a edge, you can drag out, and you can start adding more edges, and depending on the angle or the way you're dragging your mouse, you can make it poof out and more edges, or poof back in, or whatever you want to do. So when I subdivide it, you know, I noticed that the inside has got a nice edge, and I don't want to pull way out. I'll never get my bicycle wheel in between there. So basically that's how that works. Now if I go back here, I want maybe these come out a little bit further. Okay, so we're going to come out here. Now at any time I can come down here and click this one if I want. Okay, right. We're not going to get in that far, we're just going to work on the front here. So I'm going to drag out again. Watching my cursor, sometimes if you don't watch which way that arrow is going, the yellow thing, you may get unexpected result. We're doing a loop, we're going all the way around in that direction, so I'm going to click it and I'm going to get something like that. At this point in time, do I want to add some edges, which, you know, is coming in very handy because I'm actually able to Q meshes and also use my edge as another option. And basically that's how that works on that. Now you got my inside where my wheel can fit in, and I kind of like it flat and a little extruded on the outside. At any time you can also change your material to see what you like and what you don't like. Turn off the frame and you get something like this. You can crank up the geometry. Now this material kind of does give a little bit of a facet look, so if you want to, you know, true look is this fast shader seems to be most accurate for it. And then you get something like this. Okay, pause the video again, go to number 3 loop, and you can see this is what I've been using, and it will also add edges by just clicking anywhere, and it should add it right directly in the middle. Well, I did something earlier, there we go. Well, that's when I clicked, it repeated what I did. So anywhere that I click, doesn't matter high or low, it should add it in the middle. So if I do it here and just hold the mouse button down and drag, I can add multiple of them. Alright, now we're going to go into the next step. We're going to do a little bit more mix matching here. Alright, remember this crease here? Okay, even though it says crease, it is an edge tool that can crease. So I'm going to show you the other function this can do, since this is basically designed for an edge tool, button here. And we'll just use this for, let's say, insert. We'll do one here and one here. So if we select the top one, remember that one always associated with the single poly group or polygon. Okay, anything associated with this gets ignored because I'm on number 1. Okay, so this is also a move option, not just an edge. When I move, I can move just that one, which I had symmetry on. That's why you see it on the other side. So if I press number 2, not only is it an edge tool, it's also associated with the move tool. So basically, when I select a polygon, instead of pulling on just one, it's going to pull on all of them associated with that same one. So which makes it, let's say, you're going to have to do a little memory, but it's always going to, if you always remember, the top one has associated with the number 1, okay, and like a poly group or your polygon, and the one all is associated with all of them, the one that you're clicking on. And it's kind of basically the whole thing here. So all you got to remember is this is a crease tool and also a move tool. So if I hover over a edge, it says insert. Hover over face, it says move. Okay, that's all you got to remember. Like I said, you can change these custom ones. Custom 1 here, as you can see, it's highlighted here, and custom 2. Now these are for you, but you may like these settings, which I think are fairly decent. So if we want equal spacing, we'll click out here, and I'll just show you what that kind of does. So if you want to see what it does, and we're going to click out like this. And for some reason, I don't want to do equal spacing for some reason. Okay, we'll Qmesh this, and since we have symmetry on, we're like, okay, I'm gonna make it a little short. Okay, my spacing has gone away. Alright, if I make it a little long, my spacing went away. Well, we'll turn the spacing on. We're gonna, right here, since I have a symmetry on, it's gonna do both sides. Okay, now I want to bridge between these two, and I kind of want to keep it circular, because something square will make it round when you subdivide it. So what we're going to do here, we're going to shoot the inset here. Well, let's get it up a little bit here. What we got here is no square. Okay, so if we want to make this square, so we need to equalize this. Do we want to equalize a poly or equalize all polys? Since it's on symmetry, don't really care. It's all going to depend which way you are dragging. So if I click here and drag this way, maybe not that way. Okay, let's try something else. If you follow that little yellow line, and my cursor's trying to follow my cursor here, you can go like this and just keep on dragging which way you think is going to be a square on here. Let me redo this so we can kind of see a little bit better. So basically, I'm going to click move to the left. Okay, we can use replay last. You got to watch over doing this. This is number 1 on the hotkey, but I've already made another key a hotkey, so you'll have to push this button. And this should make it an even square. If not, you can double check it. I mean, it's pretty close, but if you do want to check it, B for the brush, T for transpose, and here. And here. See how I did that last time. There we go. And I'll turn off symmetry for the heck of it right now. If you move and drag to a point, it gives you the units up here. So the one going across says 01592. I'm going to go one in the opposite direction. Same thing. So this thing is square, okay? Point on square. So we're going to turn on the Qmesh. And bam! Subdivide that. Then we get something like that. And of course, if we want to go back with adding edges or whatever that you want to, like I said, you can also use the slice curve here. Like here. Alright, it kind of made it non-symmetrical, so I mean for the edges only, so basically that's kind of how these custom brushes work, if you want to know. Alright, because if this wasn't square and I subdivide it, more than likely they won't look like a tube. Okay, here's another one you might like. They're under the custom brushes 1 and 2. For some reason you have symmetry on and you decide to delete face and bridge, because with a bridge we get an arch, and we select here and we select here, and all of a sudden I decide, you know what, I want to have one with the arch and one without the arch. So well, we'll turn the symmetry back off. We knew the ones that's got the open ones will be arched, so we'll select here and here, and we'll drag up an arch. Now, well, we got a problem over here. Well, not actually a problem. I'll show you how to fix it. There's options to close holes, but you can also do it with these custom ones. It doesn't matter which one you select. We'll just select the top one here, and this is pretty kind of nifty, I think. So we're on custom one just to show you. It's kind of like to close the door. It just snaps to it. Even if I press custom 2, it should do the same thing. I call it the closing the door. Now when I want to just spread 2 faces, I'll just select here and here, which is kind of cool. One with the arch and one with a straight shot. Alright, I'm going to show you a couple of items that were made from little polygons, like box modeling. When I first started doing 3D, I pretty much did not like box modeling. I never got the hang of it. Thought it was kind of stupid, to tell you the truth. And what box modeling will do for you, if you're into 3D, it's going to be best to learn a little bit of everything than a lot of one thing. And this has taught me a lot. It lets me know how things work. If you move one edge closer to the other, it's going to give you the base structure, and you can also model really extremely quick in this if you give it a chance. Okay, so basically I made this bike frame. Like I said, I'm going to show you a couple items here. I made them either in ZBrush and hexagon, actually probably both, but this bike frame here was made, I think, an estimate about 2 minutes. Okay, I got older plugins. Do not use them for box modeling. Use the up-to-date one. for making this in 2 minutes, I think it's pretty darn good. I also made this trombone, okay? This trombone looks a little, you know, I think it looks a little hard to make if you know, if you look at it, but I think this one also was made just a little bit over in 2 minutes, okay? And it's got good geometry to it. I had fun doing it. Very simple. When you see somebody do something versus look at it, you're like, man, that looks kind of complicated. It's not complicated at all, trust me. And I have some videos. If you go check them out, you just have to do a little search. I do have some, and then you can see me model some of these. But this is not going to be part of this tutorial or this plugin that I'm using. I'm just kind of showing you what can be done. All right. This right here, this cornet. Let's go ahead and here and go to display. Got, you know, one face going out that way. Like I said, this thing looks a little bit hard to make, and it's not. It's just, you know, you just gotta think ahead of, you know, think ahead and prepare yourself how things are going to be done. I like to find the fastest and quickest way to do it. Alright, with box modeling, you can get your base started out here, then you can subdivide the crap out of it like most people do. Then you can start putting your text on your emblems, and you can do all kinds of stuff, whatever you want to do, fine detail. But this is what you get. I mean, I think this one, I'm not sure if I did this one in ZBrush. I know I did it in Hexagon, but I wouldn't have a problem making this in ZBrush. And I would have to guess maybe 4 minutes. About 4 minutes. Like I said, if you've never tried box modeling, you got to give it a try. And I'm not a big fan of, like I said, all this pop-up stuff. This is what turned me off about it. It's all this popping up stuff in my face. I do not like that. And hopefully, to make it more enjoyable, you can download the script below the video, and it'll be a whole lot better. And once you start enjoying something, you're going to be using it more often instead of having this pop up here, do something, pop up here, do something, pop up here. It's just annoying. It's like somebody putting their hand in front of your face. But anyway, I think this is going to wrap it up. I normally don't reply, I'm being stuck up. I got a lot of stuff I got to do. I'll pay attention for a couple of replies for a couple of days. If you're having any problems, maybe I can give you a hand. Like I said, it's open script. If I can't help you, I'm sure somebody else can. But anyway, hope you enjoy it, and thank you very much. Bye.